This is News Channel 20 at 6.
Good evening. Tonight, investigators are looking into what killed two people who went missing in Christian County. They were found just before 9:45 this morning on County Road 2200, about 7 miles northwest of Stonington. News Channel 20's Eric Feldman live in Christian County tonight with the latest on the investigation. Eric.
Maggie, people who live around here say that the creek that's just behind me is usually about 40 feet wide, maybe a foot deep. Sometimes it's even dry. But after days of heavy rain, I'm now walking through mud, and just beyond me, about 30, 40 feet, I'd say, you see that there's darkness, and that darkness extends a couple hundred feet, and that's all water. This creek is completely overflowing, and it's about 5 feet deep. Now, authorities say that this is a very dangerous way. These are very dangerous conditions to be driving in. And and authorities say this morning around 10 a.m., 2 bodies were found in this creek. And the Taylorville County Coroner's Office say that the victims are a 46-year-old woman and a 49-year-old male, both from Edinburgh. And Goodall says that it's important to remember while the downpour has stopped, these flood-like conditions still remain.
We've got some roads that to the north of us were being closed today because the water is still continuing to rise. So just be careful crossing any roadway that has any water going across it.
Crews from the Taylorville Fire Department were out trying to find the white van authorities believe the pair were driving in, but after an hour of searching about a mile of this overflowing creek, they found no sign of this vehicle. Now, this investigation is still ongoing, and we'll make sure to bring you all the latest developments as we find out about them. Live in Christian County, Eric Feldman, News Channel 20.
All right, Eric, thanks so much for that report. It is day 2 for the State Emergency Operations Center at IEMA. Representatives from several state agencies are in Springfield tracking flooding across the state. News Channel 20's Lindsay Hess is live at IEMA with a look at how the center is helping. Lindsay.
Maggie, it's all hands on deck here at IEMA. If we look right through this glass, this is the State Emergency Operations Center. Right now, there are about a dozen people from various agencies and organizations like the American Red Cross, Department of Corrections, and IDOT who are working together to get communities the resources they need. IEMA Director James Joseph says the State Emergency Operations Center is providing help to fill sandbags and move equipment like water pumps. It's also helping find shelter for families whose homes have been affected by flooding or power outages. Joseph tells us the state is dealing with higher crest levels on the Mississippi River than was seen during the Great Flood of 1993.
We expect the water to recede quickly, but that's our concern right now is where the Mississippi will crest at higher at record flood levels, where the levee needs to be strengthened if there are weak spots, and we're really working closely with the Army Corps of Engineers on assessing those potential risks at this time.
Tonight, Governor Rauner has declared 7 counties in southern Illinois disaster areas. All 7 are along the Mississippi River. Congressman Rodney Davis visited the SCOC today after touring areas affected by severe flooding Monday. Tonight on News Channel 20 at 10, hear from the Taylorville native on flooding in his hometown and his odds for federal funding coming to help Central Illinois. Live in Springfield, Lindsay Hess, News Channel 20.
Thanks so much. Well, water levels along the Mississippi River are expected to crest at numbers similar or higher than records set back in 1993. Now, this is what Union, Missouri looks like tonight, about 50 miles west of St. Louis. A river there put many homes and businesses underwater. It's more than 30 feet deep now. Flood stage is only 15 feet. A reminder to all of us tonight, if you see standing water, turn around, don't drown. Storm Team 20 Chief Meteorologist Cheryl Lemke joins us now with a look at whether we could see more rain later this week. Cheryl.
I mean, the flooding pictures that we've been getting in, I mean, it's just mind-boggling. Of course, we had our flooding issues here locally in Illinois, but even worse flooding in other areas like across Missouri. But the good news, no additional rain came down today, nor are we expecting anything to come up. Here's our latest satellite imagery, and we have quite a bit in the way of cloud cover, but even with those clouds, no rain came down today. That's great news. But we're still dealing with the flooding. There are flash flood watches right now in effect still for Sangamon County through early tomorrow morning, and flood warnings that are quite extensive, mainly running from I-74 and points southward, and they stay in effect till tomorrow morning as well. So still some problems with all that runoff from all the heavy rains that we've been dealing with. And the weather headlines for the next couple days staying gray and gloomy and overcast, even a chance for some light snow tomorrow, and then turning much colder too in the days ahead. I'll have you have a sneak peek at the forecast for your New Year's Day coming up in just a few moments.
All right, Cheryl, thanks so much. Well, the rain may be over now, but problems are just beginning for residents in Kincaid. The water may be sticking around for quite a while as temperatures drop below freezing tonight. News Channel 20's Brett Baldick is live with the struggles that residents face there. Brett.
Well, the water continued to rise here in Kincaid all day, forcing even more residents from their homes. At this hour, Route 104 remains closed, and if you look behind me, you can see why. There is nothing but water. Even a mile down the road, there is a car that is completely submerged. Residents say they have never seen flooding like this.
The relentless rain has stopped, but problems persist in Kincaid. Boats are now the best form of transportation as the South Fork Sangamon River has turned roads into waterways. Dozens of residents have been forced from their homes.
We had to sleep in our car.
Tiffany Burkhart considers herself one of the lucky ones. Other homeowners' cars are submerged. Customers evacuated from a nearby Dollar General also forced to leave their cars behind. The power of Mother Nature catching the community off guard.
It was kept on rising and rising. After it got from one block to the next, we just had to leave.
But even heading to higher ground through the murky water presented a challenge.
You couldn't find what you were stepping on. You could have stepped on glass or bottles.
With water still flowing, residents like Robert Argo wade through water in disbelief.
It's flooded before, but it's never got as high as this before.
Argo blames a pond built by the village for making flooding on his property so severe. His neighbor has lost nearly everything.
The water got up into his house. It's getting right there. Well, actually, the water's right next to my foundation where we live.
Thousands of dollars of damage from a storm residents hope never to see again.
It rained, so hard, a lot of times you couldn't even hardly see out the door.
Many of the homeowners I spoke with today do not have flood insurance. They say they never expected the river to reach this high of a level. Reporting live in Kincaid tonight, Brett Baldick, News Channel 20.
Brett, thanks so much. Well, this is what drivers can expect to find if they drive on Old River Road near Camp Butler. All of the recent rain means the Sangamon River has flooded onto part of the road there. It looks to be about a foot deep. Water at least 6 inches deep can be enough to stall an engine. In Riverton, floodwaters mean drivers won't be able to use this bridge for a while. As you can see, one side of the bridge is completely underwater. Now, this is near where Oak Crest Road and Oak Lane Road meet. The bridge will be closed indefinitely. Also in Riverton, village crews are moving in to help stop the rainwaters from causing any more damage. News Channel 20's Michelle London talked to one resident today about how she's dealing with all of the water. Michelle.
Well, Maggie, the rain stopped for now, but people all over central Illinois will be feeling its effects for a while. In Riverton, one woman says she's prepared to put her family and pets up in a hotel if the situation they face worsens.
Rains have finally subsided here in Riverton, but residents like Judy Coots are still feeling the effects.
We've been picking stuff up and putting it off the floor, and we're going to get some risers to put under the furniture.
Waters from the Sangamon County River located more than a mile away now surround Coots' home.
The water was over in the neighbor's field. I could see it if we looked out, and it was just starting to creep up. And then this morning it was about as far as that white swing out there, and then all of a sudden it just came the rest of the way.
Waters, Coots says, continue to creep closer by the hour. As for right now, only her crawl space is damaged from flooding, and Coots is not alone.
The Sangamon River feeds a creek that runs through the middle of Riverton, and when the river's up like it is, it backflows into this creek, which backflows into the low-lying areas, which then potentially starts to flood some houses.
Area townships are doing what they can to help.
We've got several houses that are taking water in the basements and crawl spaces, and they've got pumps running to try to keep that out of there. The houses that we're at now, we're trying to sandbag because they're the ones that are at the most critical juncture at this point.
Village leaders say they have access to around 5,000 sandbags, with more than 80 volunteers on hand helping residents secure their home.
Putting these sandbags up and stuff like that is going to hopefully help.
But it's too nasty for anybody to go down there. And but the sandbags will help.
Now, I spoke with Coots again just moments ago. She says volunteers helped lay more than 500 sandbags in front of and behind her home. The village only pays 15 cents a sandbag, so they paid about $800 for the more than 5,000 in use. Back to you.
All right, Michelle, thanks so much. Well, an update now for residents in Clinton tonight. Leaders there tell News Channel 20 water in the retention pond in the city's northeast corner receded, and there is no danger of flooding for now. City leaders were keeping an eye on the levee there with all of yesterday's rainfall. Now, some low-lying roads are impassable, but no power outages or flood damage reported, and no residents forced to evacuate. As you look to stay safe from the weather, you can count on News Channel 20 to have the latest forecast. You can find them anytime on our website, newschannel20.com. You can also like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Still ahead, with next year expected to be a big one for political races nationally and here in Illinois, we take a look at all the money raised for state elections. And holiday basketball tournaments continue for area high school teams. Donnie Tillman recaps the early action later in sports. The 2016 election will be a big one in Illinois as Republicans look to gain seats in the legislature and Democrats look to hold the big leads. But you can't win a modern election without money. News Channel 20 State House reporter Jordan Abadea breaks down how much cash each party has.
When Governor Rauner took office in January, both political parties knew something was going to be different this time around. Throughout the year, the governor's immense war chest was a constant reminder of the newfound power Republicans have. But as the year is wrapping up, it seems like Democrats are working hard to close the gap when it comes to campaign funds. If you tally up all of the recent reports for Democratic groups, their number sits at almost $27 million. For Republicans in the state, that number is a little over $29 million. Most of that money on the Republican side comes from two of Governor Rauner's groups that have over $21 million in the bank. On the Democratic side, $17 million comes from the General Assembly candidate committees. Once the new year starts, primary season is expected to heat up, and experts say they'll be watching these war chests very closely to see what races both parties want to influence. Because really, money is power when it comes to state races. At the Capitol, Jordan Abadea, News Channel 20.
Taking a live look at the capital city, a cold, dreary day here throughout central Illinois. Will it stay this way? Chief Meteorologist Cheryl Lemke lets us know if it does or if a change is on the way. But first, let's take a look at today's closing market numbers.
Now, your Storm Team 20 forecast with Chief Meteorologist Cheryl Lemke.
Good evening, everyone. Today certainly looked and felt like winter. Our high today was 38 after a morning low of 32. And the good news, no rain to report in the rain gauge. And rain is the last thing on earth that we need. Right now, the Doppler radar, a clear sweep, no rain to be had here across the area. And that's great news because we are still reeling and trying to recover from the heavy rains that we had Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. We still have a flash flood watch in effect for Sangamon County, especially along the Sugar Creek area just south of Spalding Dam. And then we have an extensive area that remains under a flood warning through tomorrow morning. Around 11:45 is when it officially expires. But this flood warning runs from Champaign all the way southward here down towards the border. So a large part of the state is still having problems with flooding. Swollen creeks and rivers, very, very common, and may take several days actually before these floodwaters finally have a chance to recede. And I'll tell you what, the rain that we had really was unprecedented. It really helped to make this December one of the wettest Decembers that we've ever had. Case in point for Springfield, officially for the last 3 days, we picked up 4.37 inches of rain, making the monthly total up to 6.56 inches of rainfall. And that in turn is making this the third wettest December on record. The most rainfall, though, came back in 1982. But as you can see, other locales like Lincoln and Peoria also reporting one of the wettest Decembers that we've had on record. Now, aside from that, again, today, just basically a cloudy day today, and also it stayed very cold. We were only seeing temperatures today stuck in the 30s. Right now it's 31 degrees for Champaign, 30 for Taylorville. Elsewhere, though, Litchfield coming in at 30 degrees this hour. And luckily the winds not too much of an issue for today. They've been staying fairly light. Westerly winds typically averaging around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Let's check on your forecast now to see what we can expect as we move in towards New Year's Day. For the rest of tonight, though, staying very cloudy, gray and murky, and those clouds not really going to be budging very quickly. They'll be with us for at least the next 24 to 48 hours or so. Along with that, here comes another weather system, a weak disturbance gliding through the region that may actually spark off a few stray snow flurries or light snow showers for tomorrow. No big deal, though, but just a little coating of snowfall may be possible. After that, as we move into Thursday and Friday, an area of high pressure will build through. With that, we'll be seeing a little bit more sunshine and very quiet weather, too, for Thursday and Friday. But again, for Wednesday, with that light coating of snowfall, at least this particular model showing maybe upwards to about 0.2 of an inch of snow. Again, no big deal, but nonetheless, a little dusting certainly cannot be ruled out. So specifically for our forecast tonight, cloudy skies, light winds, temperatures tonight dropping down to 28 degrees. Definitely a very cold night. Tomorrow, once again, they'll grab the winter coats, maybe some light snow flurries as highs struggle just to hit 33 degrees. And speaking of cold weather, the cold weather really starts to pick up Thursday and Friday. Highs only in the upper 20s, whereas the normal high should be about 35. Nighttime lows in the teens then as we usher in the new year. But then from here on out, a very quiet weather pattern with more sunshine Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. And definitely some chilly weather staying with us. Highs again very seasonable up into the low to mid 30s for most of next week. Meg.
All right, Cheryl, thanks so much. Sports Director Donnie Tillman joining us now. A busy day once again for you for prep basketball.
Yeah, that's right. The brackets are starting to fill out, Maggie, as teams look to continue moving toward a possible trophy. We'll recap the action from Collinsville, Taylorville, and Waverly next in sports.
Now, sports with Donnie Tillman.
Good evening, everyone. The Holiday Hoops Tour continues today as teams battle for hardware as we start to wrap up 2015 and enter the new year. Let's start our day with day 2 of the Collinsville Holiday Classic. Lincoln here taking on East St. Louis, and Aaron Hop's going to find KJ Fry, and he knocks down the tray. The Railers came out on fire in this one. They watched a pretty backdoor play. That's Hop scoring at the rim there, and then it's going to be Hop again in our highlights. He beats the defense, little dribble, little hang, little highlight reel for him, and then it's going to be Fry again. He was cooking from outside. He knocks down another tray. Lincoln, though, rallies to win in this contest, 59-46. Railers would take on the winner of MacArthur and Southeast in the semifinals later tonight. What a game this was. Generals up 7 at the half. Amir Brummett with the steal. Khalil Brummett's going to finish the play off with a big layup. Then later, Randy Thaxton drives and scores for MacArthur. Now, Southeast would rally from a double-digit deficit in the fourth quarter. D'Angelo Hughes drives the baseline and scores there. Southeast down 3, rise and fire from Isaiah Walton. That's going to tie the ball game up at 61. Now, the Generals get the ball to Kemonte Johnson. He muscles his way into the paint for the bucket. It's 63-61, 1.3 left on the clock. One final chance for Southeast. They inbound the ball. They do get a shot off, but it does not go. MacArthur moves on in the winners bracket 63-61. Other scores from today at the Pekin Holiday Tournament. Lanphier beats the hometown team 52-34. They'll take on top seed Washington tonight at 8 p.m. All right, let's head to the Waverly Tournament now. Pawnee and Lincolnwood would battle to see who would go or move on in the winners bracket. That is Brian Graham, who rises and knocks down a jumper there for the Lancers. Evan Roberts, though, with the soft baseline touch for the Indians. Then it's Trenton Eckert who's going to drive, little hesitation. He scores for Pawnee, but Seth Foster is going to cut into the middle of the lane. He scores for Lincolnwood. They get the victory 49-38. They're into the title game. Hey, it's day 2 at the Taylorville tournament. Teams combining for 7 games on the schedule today. And earlier today, it was the host Tornadoes taking on Dunlap. Blake Heimsness, you know him as the quarterback. He can also score. He finds Connor Patrick for the layup. Second half now, Heimsness left alone in the corner, and he nails the shot there. Taylorville picks up the victory 62-40. And in other action, we'll start our highlights with Mount Zion and Rantoul. This is going to be Jonas Smith. just a sophomore. He nails the 3-ball there. Then later, Ryan Kernan from the corner hits the 3, but Mount Zion falls to Rantoul by a score of 85-74. We'll have much more basketball action tonight at 10.
I'm sure you will. All right, thanks, Donnie. And don't go away. Cheryl has one last look at your forecast on the other side of the break.
And our forecast shows that we might see some light snow flurries for Wednesday. After that, a very quiet, very tame weather pattern for the rest of the week. More sunshine returns by Thursday and more chilly weather too. 20s and 30s for highs, teens and 20s for lows.
All righty. Well, that is our time. Thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you back here tonight at 10 o'clock. Good night, everyone.